Hello my fellow book lovers, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. As you can see, or as you can tell by the title of this video, we're doing my January through March reading wrap up. 3 months worth of books that I have to talk about because literally I have no one to yap about it to, so I need to yap about it to you guys. Out of all the books I've read through January through March, so technically I'm looking at my Goodreads right now because these aren't even all the books I read. Okay, these are just the physical books I read. I've technically read 26 books this year so far. Out of these, I've only actually read 23 from January to March. So 23 books in the last 3 months. And I think 19 of them were all physical books. So we got a big old pile, big old list that I gotta get through here. I don't know if I talked about this in any of my other videos, but one of my reading goals this year was to read more of my physical TBR. So as you can see, I'm clearly sticking to that goal of reading more of my physical books because, my God, because I sure do have a lot of them here. Okay, let's just jump right in because honestly, like I said, I've got a lot of books to talk about, a lot of books to yap on. We just gotta get rolling, okay? In the order that I physically read them this year, okay? So the first book I actually ended up reading in 2025 is Twisted Games by Anna Huang. This is the second book in the Twisted series. This one was so fun to read. It was just like, it's just a silly goofy time, okay? Okay, I don't want to say a silly goofy time because the contents of the book is not like a silly goofy cutesy little read. Like, that's just not what it is. This is a romance between a princess and her bodyguard. It's a bit spicy, okay? It's a bit spicy. So she's not a silly goofy time, but she was fun to read. She was just a no brain power, fun book to get into, okay? I was, obviously, as you guys know, Onyx Storm came out earlier this year in January. So I was really trying to read books that were like not going to like take me that long to read, and so that I could just kind of read some before Onyx Storm came out or before I was doing my reread. And this was just the first one I picked up. It was a super fun one to read. I'm super happy that I did. This one has so far, I've only read the first 2, but so far I enjoyed this one a lot. Like I said, this one's between a princess and her bodyguard. I really don't think I have much to say on it. Honestly, could I tell you what happened in the book? No. I mean, I remember some things in it, but like, it's really like, it didn't like impact my brain a lot, but I really just enjoyed it. I just remember having a fun time. I did a whole bunch of updates on TikTok, as well as I'm pretty positive this was in another reading vlog. So I will also like put the reading vlog that this was in. So yeah, so you guys can go see that and see more of my actual thoughts on it. But I ended up rating this one at 4 stars. This one, like I said, I had a silly, goofy, fun time. It's about a princess and her bodyguard, and it's a forbidden romance because he works for her, things like that. Yeah, it's just a forbidden romance. It was a fun time and I enjoyed it. I don't need to talk about it anymore because I don't. Okay, the next book I read is actually another sequel, and that is Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. Better Than the Movies was one of my favorite books, I think back in 2023. It's still a 5-star read for me. I absolutely love Wes and Liz. They're such a cute couple, and they were genuinely a fun, silly, goofy time. That book, as well as this one. This one is a second chance romance. Go into this book, you get Wes's point of view and you get Liz's point of view, and you don't really know the reason that they broke up in the first place. All you know is that Wes is basically trying to win Liz back. I didn't enjoy this one as much as I thought I was going to. I mean, Wes and Liz were still the same, but not after a few years apart. And after like the few years of growing up, Liz just kind of annoyed me more in this one than anything. Like, she just like, I don't know, like she wasn't herself, and she had like changed so dramatically that I was just kind of like, okay, like I get it, but I don't, because like she was so confident in the first book, like being like, I mean, I'm not afraid to be who I am. But then in this book, it almost felt like she shifted dramatically, and that just wasn't her. Wes was genuinely like trying to be like better than he was before and try to like win her back and like be himself just genuinely, and she just like wasn't having it, and I just like didn't really enjoy that. So this book again is in another reading vlog. I'm pretty sure the same one as the Twisted Games one, so I'll, like I said, link it below so you guys can watch it and get more of my thoughts and feelings while reading the book. Honestly, I think I gave this one a 3 stars. If I'm thinking about it now, it's a 3 stars. Like, I don't even need to look at my Goodreads to know. Like, it was okay. Like, I enjoyed myself while reading it, but it like wasn't what I thought it was gonna be, and like that's okay. Like I genuinely didn't think it was gonna be the best thing in the world, because I knew that everything that was gonna happen had to be undone for us to move forward in the story. So everything that I loved about the first one had to be undone in the second one. And again, like I said, like it ended great in the first one, so this one was not necessary. Anyway, this one I ended up giving a 3 stars. Next up, we ended up reading Rock Paper Scissors by Alice Feeney. This was the first Alice Feeney book I ever read, and again, there is a full-on actual reading vlog that I did with this book, because when I read this book, I was in a cabin during a snowstorm, and I was trapped in the cabin during the snowstorm, and this follows a couple trapped in a cabin during a snowstorm. So I thought it was very fitting. I really thought it was very fitting. So I did a full-on reading vlog with this one, and it's literally just this book. So you guys can go ahead and watch that as well to get more of my thoughts on it, because I'm gonna just do a really quick one here. I actually did enjoy this one. The twist kind of got me. Like, there was a point in the book where I was like, what's gonna happen, what's going on, and it actually, like, all of a sudden, like, this thing was revealed, and I was like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting. It was very good. I do feel like the ending fell a little flat for me. Like, it was very lackluster. Like, all of a sudden, like, it was just over, and that was it. So I was like, okay. I think I ended up giving this one a 3.25 stars. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed it. It was a fun read. It's super quick, fast paced. It's only 300 pages? 291 pages, so less than 300. You can easily just like read this one like and get it out of the way super quick. This was a good winter read, so if you wanted to like maybe like hold on to this one for like next winter, because I know now we're in the spring, but this one was a good fun winter read. The first 2 books I don't physically have with me right now. They're just downstairs on my shelf, and I felt like I didn't need to get them for this wrap up. Okay, the next 3 books I ended up reading was a reread of Fourth Wing and Iron Flame in preparation for Onyx Storm coming out. I have, again, a whole reading vlog based for this book, okay? It is a full-on getting all my reactions to the chapters and everything like that, spoiler and non-spoiler. The non-spoiler is obviously always the first part of the video, and then the spoiler section is at the end of the video. So if you want my full-on non-spoiler, spoilery reaction, thoughts, feelings to this book, please go watch that. It is literally a full-on reading vlog, play-by-play of this book. I absolutely love this series. I reread the first 2 books, and the first book I just like fell in love with all over again. So if that doesn't like tell you anything about the series, like, or how I feel about it, it's my Roman Empire, okay? I will literally never shut up about them. Never shut up about them, okay? Till the day I die, will love these books. Wake up in the morning, think about them, think about certain characters. Like, it's just literally like, do I even have to say it? Like, you guys know. Like, you guys know who I think about every single day of my life and that I love. So I just don't even... I love this book. This book was so good. So the first book in the series entirely is my favorite book so far. And this is definitely my second favorite book. I really loved the character development of everyone in this one, because Violet really came into her own during this one. She really had to step up and like prove to everybody that she could be a leader even when she didn't want to be, and I absolutely loved that about her in this one. I think I just ended up giving a 5 stars. I like still think about the things that are going on, and like some of the like little Easter eggs that happened in here. Easter eggs, I don't really know why I called them that, but like, you know, just like the little, what's the word? Foreshadowing, there we go, that happened in this book, and I just really loved it, okay? Hands down, love Rebecca Yarros, love this series. I will never shut up about it, okay? Like I said, I don't need to go on and on about it, even though I want to. I don't need to, because there was a whole reading vlog that you can go watch to go see me talk about it, okay? And again, I don't need to talk about Fourth Wing or Iron Flame, because I do have 2 other reading vlogs dedicated to those books that literally have a non-spoiler and spoiler section for you to watch if you want my full-on thoughts and feelings about it in real time. Next up, I ended up reading The Game Changer by Lana Ferguson. I'm not gonna lie. I am not gonna lie to you. I can't tell you a single thing about this book. The only thing that I remember is that she has her own baking show, and that he's a professional hockey player, and that he is her brother's best friend. Her brother also plays on the hockey team, and that's how they know each other. Or no, she grew up with him. Literally, like I said, I could not tell you. I read this one directly after reading Onyx Storm, and I was in a hangover after that. So I literally was, when I read this, so distracted. I literally like was reading the pages but thinking about Onyx Storm while this was going on. So I can't really give this one like a fair rating, truthfully, because like I said, my mind was elsewhere when reading it. But from what I do remember about it, it was kind of cute. I felt like it was just like a little two-dimensional. Like the characters themselves like were just kind of there. They were just, and I also felt like the media frenzy that goes on around him, because he's supposed to be like this troublemaker or this like, I don't know, it didn't really make sense to me as to like why like the media was so drawn to him and like how everyone like saw him as this villain when realistically like he was not. Like it just didn't make sense, and like the way that like the author like portrayed the media about him in the book didn't make sense to me either, because he used to be married and then he got divorced. He's still friends with his ex-wife, and I don't want to tell you like the stuff that, because like when you're reading it, it makes sense as to why he's still friends with his ex-wife. Like she doesn't have a problem with it, like it's not a big deal. But like the media wanted to like turn this into this giant thing, and it just didn't make sense to me. And that was something I didn't like. Like I said, like I can't really give a fair rating on this one just because I solely like was not in it when I was reading it. I think I rated it a 3 stars, and I'll keep it at that because like I said, I can't give it a fair rating. Like immediately in my brain, I was like, yeah, 2.75. But because I was like physically like in another world, literally couldn't wrap my head around it, I'm gonna keep it at a 3 stars, okay? Because I'm not gonna say I wouldn't recommend it, but it wasn't like my favorite book. It wasn't like the best like hockey romance book that I've ever read, you know what I mean? So the next 3 books I am going to talk about were books I actually, again, read in a reading vlog that you guys can go ahead and watch. I'll make sure that it is linked or it's put in the little tabby things. But I read them for Valentine's Day, so that was fun. And that first one was Practice Makes Perfect. You guys, I loved this book. Like, just thinking about it literally, like, warms me on the inside. This was so cute, so fun, and I just like could not stop giggling the entire time I was reading this, okay? Like the chemistry between the 2 main characters, like just them themselves, just adorable. I absolutely loved it. It was phenomenal, okay? Sarah Adams knows how to write a silly, goofy romance. Sarah Adams is a very cheesy romance, rom-com author. I always say that going into her books, being like, you have to know that she's a super cheesy writer and like loves to write cheesy romantic comedies. You just gotta know that going in, because when you go into it and you start reading it, and if you don't realize that, you're kind of like, what the heck is going on? Like, because it's so like not realistic in ways, but like that's what makes it so fun. I absolutely loved this book. It was 4.5 stars, okay? I can't even like contain myself. It's 4.5 stars, okay? I ranted and raved about this in my video that I did a reading vlog with this in, so definitely go ahead and watch that if you want more like in-depth thoughts, just because I have so many books to go through. But again, I absolutely love this. This is the second book in the When in Rome series. This one follows Noah's sister, Annie, and Amelia's bodyguard. So Amelia and Noah were the characters in the first 2 books, and then this is the sister, and then this is the bodyguard of the 2 main characters in the first book. Like I said, it follows Will and Annie. Annie owns a little flower shop, and basically Annie is like really just looking for a man and a husband and wants a family, that whole thing. But she is very bad at dating, okay? She's like, I feel like I'm stuck and I will never meet someone because I am not good at dating. And you kind of get that within the first chapter. And then Will comes along, not her typical man, it's definitely not what she's looking for. A bad boy is what he is. And he's like, I'm not looking for a relationship whatsoever. But what do they decide to do? They decide that he's like, oh, I'm gonna help you learn how to date, because why not? Why wouldn't I help you? We're friends. Like, it just makes sense. And I'm back in town to bodyguard Amelia for a little while. So why don't we do that? You know, I'll help you practice on dates and telling you things, this and that. And then so of course you obviously know where that leads. But like I said, it was just so good, so fun. Literally like the chemistry for them personally, and what I felt like jumped off the page. Like I absolutely loved them. They were such a fun couple to follow and get to know, as well as this town. This town is so fun to kind of like keep going back to, because think Gilmore Girls, how everybody's just in your business. That's how it feels here, okay? So they have to like kind of be a secret of what they're doing, even though they're not really dating. They have to like be secretive about it, because then everybody will think they're dating, and like everyone like will jump down his throat because she's the town's like sweetheart essentially. So yeah, it was a super fun time, and I highly recommend this book. This was a 4.5 stars, like I said, and I'm super excited to actually read the 3rd book in the series. Next up, we read For We Are Strangers in that same reading vlog. This one was good. I at the beginning was kind of like confused because of the way that they all talk, but I think this takes place, I think it's the 90s, early 2000s, but it takes place over the course of years. You get a then and now timeline, but like it's not like a jumping back and forth then and now timeline. You get the now timeline of from when he saw her, and then the then timeline of like how their love story kind of happened and like where they're at now in the present timeline. So basically what happens is that 15 years later, Matt sees Grace on the train and he's just like in complete awe because he hasn't seen her in 15 years, right? So their relationship kind of ended abruptly and you don't really know why. He then reaches out via a like Craigslist thing. I can't remember. It's like the misconnections thing is how he reaches out to try and like reconnect with her again. And so basically after he's seen her for the first time in 15 years, you kind of jump back into their entire love story of like where they're at and like what happened and getting to the root of like where the relationship went, how they were as a couple, and how their relationship ended. Yeah, it was actually really good. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed like then timeline, trying to be in a relationship, things like that, because you could definitely tell they both go to NYU, so it's like a college-ish romance. And then once you get to the now timeline, I really love where it's kind of like they picked up right where they left off. It was nice. I genuinely enjoyed this one. I kind of was like, wow, like I didn't know how to feel because again at the beginning the way that they were talking just like didn't like fit for me. I was like, why are they talking like that and talking about people like that? It just like didn't make sense. But then when I kind of realized like the time frame that it was, I was like, okay, maybe this kind of makes sense. Like if they're stuck in this like weird like age of like trying to like be like who they were. I don't know. It was kind of weird. But in the end, I ended up really liking it. But you have to get past that. You gotta get past the way that they talk. I really enjoyed it and I do actually highly recommend this book. I think I ended up giving this one a 3.5 stars. Like I said, again, I would recommend it. It's a really short and sweet little romance and it kind of has like a little bit more dimension to it as well. Like it's not just like a straight up like silly goofy fun time of a romance. Like it really does like deep dive into a little bit more issues that they have going on like as college students and then in their real life currently and things like that. So yeah. Next book is The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. I ended up reading this one, I think, on Valentine's Day. And literally this is a time loop on Valentine's Day. The book takes place. So if you haven't read this one yet, definitely save it for next year. It was super fun. Emily Hornby is stuck in a time loop on Valentine's Day. Every day she ends up rear-ending or getting into an accident with the same person, Nick, who is the love interest. And every single day she's already in a relationship, but every single day she watches and sees her boyfriend cheat on her. And she's just like, how am I gonna get out of this and fix this? Like, I think the only way to get out of it is just to stop my boyfriend from cheating. Where am I going with this? What am I saying? I really enjoyed this while I read it. Clearly I can't remember a lot about it. It was good and I liked it, but basically she's trying to figure out how to get out of this time loop. And it is a fun read. It's silly goofy. It's obviously it's not realistic in the slightest. It's also like their romance too is kind of fun because like it's not really about the romance entirely. Like it is, but it isn't, because like she's living the same day over again, but the guy that she keeps like the universe is trying to push her towards in a sense like isn't living the same day over again. So like she's learning all this new stuff about him, but he's like not remembering obviously anything from the previous day. So it's really like this weird like how their relationship isn't going anywhere because she's living the same day over again, but she still keeps like getting to know this guy that the universe keeps pushing her towards and like, you know, starting to like catch feelings and stuff. So it's like kind of weird. I liked it. I think at the time I gave this 4 stars, but thinking back now, considering I can't really pinpoint anything, I would give it a 3.5 stars. It was a fun, silly time, and I do think like if you're looking just for something a little bit different, or you just like love Lynn Painter and you want another young adult romance recommendation, I highly suggest this one. The next book I'm going to talk about actually was a book I listened to on audio, and that is First Lie Wins. I enjoyed this one. This was like one of Goodreads' best books of the year. This again, I think this is in another reading vlog. So if you guys want to go see all my thoughts and feelings on this book in that reading vlog, go ahead and watch it. The next 3 books again are books in a reading vlog. This was one of Goodreads' best audiobooks of 2024. And so I decided to give it a listen to see like what the hype was about. I liked it, but it wasn't like, again, the best. I don't know, like the story itself was fun. I think because I wasn't listening to it like consecutively, like I really was, I was taking like big gaps into when I listened to to it because, you know, I really don't listen to audiobooks that often. Like they're not my go-to thing. Like I like listening to them, but not obviously all the time. I was like trying to think, I was like, okay, like listening to it, and it was good. It was good. I don't think it was like anything to like write home about. I ended up giving it a 3 stars. I don't really have much to say on it, honestly. Like I can't really remember a lot of it. I don't even remember the main character's name, but basically it follows this one main character. Like I said, can't even remember her name. Evie Porter. There we go. The twist is that Evie Porter doesn't exist. So you're basically following along this character of like how she got to where she is now, and like what's led her to here, and like what she's doing, get back to who she really is. But yeah, like I said, it was good to listen to, but like it wasn't, like I said, anything like super exciting to write home about. Next up, we have If Only I Had Told Her by Lauren Allen. This is the sequel, and I genuinely very much enjoyed this book. A lot of people were talking about how this book didn't really need to be written. It could have been a novella, and yes, I agree with that. It could have been a novella, but I really did enjoy everything that I got out of this book, okay? It really gave me like a sense of closure as a reader, especially like with what happened at the end of the first book. It was a really nice like little sentiment, I think, and like being right back in to the story with their POVs and like seeing everyone's like thoughts and feelings on like what's happened, and even getting like Finney's point of view for like before, obviously. It was really nice. Like I really loved seeing Finney's point of view in that first one. Like I was like loved Finney. There's a little bit of other things in there that I didn't quite love, which I talk about in my reading vlog. So if you want to go watch that, definitely go do that if you want to get some of those thoughts. But I very much enjoyed this. The one thing I will say is that yes, it was a little long. It could have absolutely have been a novella. And by the end of the book, I really felt like I wasn't even reading the same book anymore. Like I liked that we got Autumn's point of view for after the fact and for like seeing where her life's going to go. But like that genuinely to me was like not necessary, because we already got Autumn's point of view obviously in the first book. It was entirely her point of view. To kind of get in this last one and then not feel like it was the same book that I was reading by the end of it felt a little weird to me. Like I felt so disconnected from Autumn, even though in the first book I felt so connected to her. This one I gave a 3.5 stars. Really enjoyed it. I actually do recommend if you want to like just like get back into them and get some closure. It absolutely could have just been a novella, but I'm glad that it wasn't, and it is a little tearjerker. I did get a little sad, okay? So just remember that. Just remember. A little sad. Again, another one, I'm super excited. The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. I absolutely fell in love with this book. Okay, let me tell you. Never thought I would say that one of my newfound favorite characters in a book is literally a spider plant. Literally a spider plant. A talking spider plant. Isn't that crazy? This is a cozy fantasy. This is a cozy fantasy. What is her name? Oh my gosh. Literally the whole thing came off. This book follows Kyla, who is a librarian in the capital. She unfortunately has to go back to her home island, I think is what it's called. I can't really remember exactly how it was like described in the book, because there's trouble in the Empire. So basically the Empire is like a lot of things are going on, a lot of bad things are happening. So she works in the, is that what it's called? The capital? Or am I making that up? It's basically the capital, okay? That's like where their like emperor lives and things like that, like the rulers, all the rich people who they live there. They live in the capital, what I'm gonna keep calling it. She basically has to flee from there, right? So she was a librarian, and she ends up taking like a bunch of books back with her to her homeland to try and like salvage it, because like once she gets back there, she kind of realizes that the island is dying. So in disguise, she opens up like a jam shop so that she can sell this magic in remedies, but it poses as a jam shop. So like if someone were to come like sneaking around looking, being like, oh, this is like illegal magic, she's like, nope, it's literally just a jam shop and I'm selling jam. And it's so cute, you guys. It was such a cool, entertaining premise. Like it was not at all what I was expecting, okay? Like this is definitely 100% a cozy fantasy. It's technically in the romantic category, but I wouldn't categorize it as that. There is a subtle romance in here, but basically one of her assistant too is a spider plant named Kaz. He was so funny, okay? He was the funniest thing in this book. He was definitely meant to be like this comedic relief, and I just like every time he was just so funny. Like where was it? There was like something, I could not stop laughing. I remember sitting up and like at night, like talking to Michael about how funny this character was and about some of the things that he would say. And I just like could not stop laughing. I was like, no, and it's a spider plant. Bro has no face, ears and or mouth, eyes, has nothing. But yet somehow he can talk and communicate and like move around. Like he's he is magic, like he was made, but it was like such a fun little concept. I was like, what? Because as you guys know, like she does open up a little spell shop to kind of like disguise it being an illegal spell shop. And one of the things that is said, she is talking about how she wants to open up a spell shop. She goes, I'm not saying we should call it a spell shop. And Kaz, the spider plant, goes, good. Because Kyla and Kaz's really illegal spell shop that would likely get you killed or cursed would look ridiculous on a sign. You might as well invite an Imperial investigator for tea. And to me, that was just so, he is just like so funny. And I'm just like, I just remember cackling. I just remember thinking that this was so funny. I absolutely love this book. I gave this one 4 stars. This does move at a very slow pace though, like I said. Or not like I said, this is a cozy fantasy, like I said, so it does move a little bit slower than I feel like a traditional fantasy. It's not very high stakes. There are some like higher stakes in it, obviously because of the situation going on like in their like capital city, because it does kind of come down, trickle to the island a little bit. No, it was a super cute, fun, little cozy read, okay? It was like, it hit just right. And like knowing that it's a little bit slower paced and knowing that it's a cozy fantasy, I feel like helped me like prepare for the fact that I knew it wasn't gonna be this like big thing, that I wasn't like needed to get too invested into too much or expecting too much out of it. But I was pleasantly surprised. Like I was very entertained and had such a good time. So I highly recommend this one. Next up, I read The Darkest Corner of the Heart. This one is the second book in a series, I'm pretty sure, but you do not need to read the first one to read this one. And if you read this one first, it obviously gives away what happens at the end of the first book. But this one I think takes place 15 years later than that first one, right? So this one follows Maddie and James. Maddie is striving to be a professional ballerina. She's like already in training to be one, but there's like this audition for this giant company in the town that she lives in, and she's prepping for this audition, and while she's prepping for this audition, she ends up getting injured. So she ends up having to like go to physical therapy and really try and retrain and like get better to again be back to where she was at one point. And along the way she ends up kind of falling in love or kind of getting involved with her physical therapist. He's kind of like really torn because there is a bit of an age gap between them. He knows that she's a patient and that this is not professional in any way, but he just like cannot help the way that he feels about her. It is a very nice romance. I don't have too much to say on it. Like, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. I don't think it was like anything super special. I was a dancer growing up, so like I absolutely loved like reading about this, but yeah, no, it's not anything like to write home about. I feel like it's a very more like traditional romance. So if you're looking for just something like with no brain power, this is great. Yeah, this is again another forbidden romance because she's his patient. It's definitely though like not weird, like because nothing really happens when she is his patient. Like it does happen like after the fact, and it only happens because she genuinely pursued it. Not like he took advantage in any way, okay? I just want to make that clear. I enjoyed this book. I think I ended up giving this one a 3.5 stars. I really liked it. Like I said, I would recommend it. The next 4 books I ended up reading again in another reading vlog. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that all the books that I had read recently were all in reading vlogs. Like, I feel like I struggled to keep up when trying to post reading vlogs, and I just like never can. All these books, like I said in the next one, are in a reading vlog, and this was like in a hockey romance reading vlog. So if you want to go see more in-depth thoughts and feelings about these books, definitely go see them there. But the first book was Offside by Avery Keelan. I loved this book. This book actually was such a good college romance. I absolutely loved it. They are technically rivals, but not. So the book starts out with her boyfriend dumping her on her birthday, right? Her ex-boyfriend now is the captain of the hockey team. So the next day or the 2 days after, I can't really remember, she goes out to the bar and she sees, is he the captain? I can't really remember. But he is like one of the star players on the rival college's hockey team, right? And everybody from their school does not like him because of the way he plays on the ice, that he's a very dirty player, things like that. And he's very much perceived as this playboy, he's a douchebag, you know, all the things, right? And so he comes up to her and hits on her in the bar. And she's like, you know what? This could be really good for me, okay? But basically nothing happens. Was like, you know, we could be friends. And she's like, I don't really want to be your friend, because she doesn't like him because of how she's perceived him. But it ends up being this like really great romance that establishes a friendship first, and how he's like I really is a, if he wanted to, he would. Like, I really loved that. I know that was like a terrible explanation of this book, but I feel like if I give away too much, then it's like, why would you read it? Basically, that's how it starts out, is that they're like rivals in a sense. He's like, I don't know her, like they're not rivals really, but like she's just like, no, like I don't like you because of the way that she perceives him. And he ends up not being what anyone expected. He's actually a genuinely really nice guy. And so yeah, it was a really sweet, fun romance that had a lot of depth and dimension to it. The only thing I would say is that I kept kind of getting like a little bit lost. Like sometimes I'd be reading and I wouldn't be really paying attention to what I was reading, even though I really enjoyed the book. I think that was more of a me thing though than anything. Not that it like couldn't keep my attention. I think at a certain point, because they were in such a good place for so long, that like it just kind of was like their relationship was just kind of happening and progressing, and then like the conflicts that kept happening were solely because of people like her friend group and like people that she surrounded herself with did not like him, and because of who he was for the other, like who he was to that hockey team, like for the school that she went to. So it was kind of weird. It was like, why is she like, she wasn't like letting these people's like opinions affect like the way she felt about him, but it was like weird because like that was like where the main conflict was within the book. So I feel like it was just like, it was realistic in like a college sense of being like, oh no, like I can definitely see how this is like how a college relationship could play out. I don't need to go on too much more about it because like I said, I had another reading vlog where I talked about it more. The next two books I ended up reading are the first and the second book in the Beartown trilogy. I'm not going to go on about this too much because I absolutely loved this series and this book. I am currently actually reading the third book in the series, so I'm almost done with it. 5 stars. 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I genuinely don't know how he wrote a book that made me be like, I have no words, and how I literally still don't have words to describe how this book like made me feel, and like the way that he just like writes everything. He writes so amazingly. Like it is so good. He takes the mundane and turns it into something amazing, and I just don't know how he does that. I really just genuinely don't know how he does that. But if you guys don't know, Beartown follows a small town and their junior ice hockey team. This book starts out not in the way that you're expecting. I literally had no idea. I kind of went in blind. The only thing I did know about it was like how this town was following the junior ice hockey team, and was trying to figure out like, okay, how it was going to play out, things like that. First page threw me for a loop. I said, oh, didn't realize that's how we were getting into this. Way more in depth, way the lives of these people and the way that they're all intertwined and the way that their lives all revolve around this one sport. And the way he writes that is so incredible. And I just highly recommend that everybody read this series because it is so good. Absolutely loved it, like I said. 5 stars, highly recommend. Second book, Us Against You. Like I said, this was another book that I ended up reading in this video. This is definitely like the middle syndrome book. It was good. It really just kind of gets you to right after everything that happens in Beartown, and then to lead you into the third one, which is kind of weird because the third one where I've started out takes place not way longer, like 2 years after this one ends. But basically it is a middle book. Like it is a lot about like the town really trying to like grieve in this weird way, like the way this town grieves for something, but then also like how it's going to be built back up, like how they're building back up what they've lost. So yeah, it's really good, and I highly recommend that you just read the whole series. Okay, I ended up, I think, rating Us Against You 4 stars. I did not love it as much as I loved the first one. It just definitely didn't get the same feel. It definitely, like I said, gave like the middle kid syndrome book. Next up, we have Unsteady by Peyton Corinne. I don't have much to say about this one either. This one, like I liked, but I didn't love. The main girl character kind of was just like, okay. Like I didn't really love her. I loved Reese in this book though. Like he was definitely a really sweet man. And he was really genuinely trying. And Sadie was just kind of being annoying, not really having it. Basically, back in the book, it says, Reese is desperate to feel anything and Sadie just wants to stop feeling so much. Sadie really is going through a lot with her family. And Reese has just gone through this like, had a really bad accident while playing on the ice during like one of their last games of the season, and he's really trying to like come to terms and like cope and try and get back on the ice after that. It was a really bad accident, and he's like really trying to like get back on the ice and get back to like his routine, and he just like simply cannot. And they kind of just like find this comfort in each other of like trying to like one, escape the world, but then also feeling like that they can confide in each other and like feel seen in a way. It was was good. It wasn't like anything special again. Like I keep saying like there's nothing to write home about. It was good, not my favorite. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I don't really have anything else to say about it. Next up, I ended up reading The Last Word by Taylor Adams. And let me tell you, this is definitely a me thing, but this book just disappointed me. I am so sad because I read so many good things. So many people talked about this book, and I absolutely loved No Exit by Taylor Adams, which was a 5-star read for me. Absolutely loved it. So I was going into this book thinking that this was gonna be amazing. And it just like fell so flat for me. This girl is like house sitting. The house is in Washington, but it's in a very like summer home place, and she's house sitting for the winter for this lady who owns it. And basically she ends up reading a book and ends up giving the author a 1-star review of their book. And now basically what's going on is that she ends up getting stalked and threatened by the author of that book and ends up finding out where she is. Like I said, I was looking forward to this book so much. I thought it was going to be so good, and then it kind of just like really let me down. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about it. I rated it 3 stars. I felt it was a little bit predictable in a way. The one thing about Taylor Adams' writing though, I will say, is that he basically like tells you what's going on. Like there's no like huge plot twist, right? But like he kind of like gives you the story as is. Like it's like as it's going on. So it's not like this mystery that you have to figure out really. It's like more of like this thriller aspect of like the story's playing out before your eyes and you're like, oh my god, like where is this leading? So I kind of like that aspect of his writing, but this one just kind of fell flat for me. I ended up only giving it a 3 stars. The ending wasn't like super obvious, but like the main twist I like knew. I was like, okay, like I knew that was gonna happen. Next up is Daisy Jones and the Six. I actually ended up listening to this one, but I've had this book on my TBR for so long. And I really enjoyed the audiobook. Okay, the audiobook I listened to because it's told, or the book is written in a documentary style. I really wanted to listen to it because I was like, no, I think that'll be best for me because I'm not a very big literary fiction person. So I ended up just listening to it and it was amazing. Like the documentary style and listening to it in audiobook form was definitely the way to go for me. Okay, because all the voices matched perfectly to the way that the characters were talking and like describing things and like how I pictured like their personalities to be, and like I was like, oh no, like these voices like fit the characters of like who they are, and it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. Really enjoyed it. This like really like captured my attention, and to kind of like see this story play out of this band and all the members and like how their like rise to fame came and like how it ended so quickly. And like I think she said somewhere in an interview that this book is like based off of like the Rolling Stones, I think. I'm not really sure, but it does take place in the 70s. It follows multiple characters, like I said, coming of age for Daisy, and then the Six is the band, and then Daisy ends up joining the Six. It's just a really cool, remarkable story about how like they all created music together and all these albums, and then going on tour together, and then like where their lives were at the time and like where they are now. And it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Again, highly recommend listening to the audiobook of this. I think it was really good. These next 2 books are going to be in a reading vlog coming soon. You haven't seen it yet, so you will get more thoughts and feelings onto that. So I'm going to preface that by saying I'm not going to talk about this one a lot, and that is Never by Jessa Hastings. Unpopular opinion. I really liked this book, okay? The reviews for this book were like tearing it apart and really dragging it through the mud. I really enjoyed this one, but I am very biased because I absolutely love Peter Pan. Peter Pan is my favorite Disney movie, like classic Disney movie ever. And this book though, you have to going into it, this is based off of the original J.M. Barrie like Peter Pan story. This is not based off of like the Disney version Peter Pan. So that's the big thing to remember. This is obviously a darker retelling. This takes place Daphne, the granddaughter of Wendy. Basically, Daphne's entire family has gone to Neverland, and Peter always comes to get them when they're like 12 years old. But Peter actually then never ends up coming to get Daphne until she's 17. And then so when she's 17, Peter ends up coming and taking her to Neverland. And obviously at 17 years old, she's much different, and so is Peter. Peter ended up being older than obviously when he came to get her grandmother's and her mom. But Daphne is really like struggling with like wanting to grow up and then also wanting to stay here in Neverland and being like almost this girl. She gets there and like Peter's like not what she expects him to be, right? So her grandmothers have like drawn Peter up to be this like most amazing person that they're in love with basically, and he's just not that. And so she's like really conflicted and really confused about like, because he's so charming and like she in a way loves him, but at the same time is like he does these things and she's like, what is happening right now, and like doesn't understand fully. I like this book. I gave it 4 stars. I have not like firmly set a rating for this one yet because I'm still so confused on it. I keep talking to my friend about it. We're gonna meet up and like talk about it because I'm literally just like, what the heck? Because so many things happened in this book. And I think it's supposed to be a series. Like there were so many things that happened that like left me on like unanswered questions. Anyways, like I said, I'm giving this a 4 stars. And I'm not gonna talk about it. Not gonna talk about it because I have a reading vlog coming out. So next up, again, this book is also in the reading vlog. The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. Let me tell you. I've never cried harder reading a book. Never cried harder. Never. She simply tore my heart out and I simply will never forgive her. Okay? I will never forgive her for what she did to me during this. As well as Beckett and Ella. Beckett is in the military and Ella is the sister of his best friend, actually. Ella asks her brother, like, hey, is there anyone that maybe needs writing to? And he says, yeah, actually, this guy. Beckett, her and Beckett end up being like essentially pen pals. Beckett ends up going to help take care of her, but she does not realize that it's him. And she's really going through a struggling time because her brother had asked Beckett to go back and take care of her, was like, I need you to do this for me. She's really going through a tough time. So he's there to really like show her and like be there for her in any way that he can be to like help make her life easier because she's a young single mom going through a lot. Simply gut-wrenching, okay? That's all I'm gonna say on that, okay? I ended up giving this a 4.5 stars. Loved it. Despite the fact that I cried like a baby. Like I actually sat here in my bedroom and sobbed. Like I have never sobbed harder. It was a rough day. Let me tell you, it was a rough day when I read this book, okay? I was like, I really thought I was gonna be one of the strong ones and was like, oh, like, cause it's sad all the way through. Like, you know it's sad, but I'm like, oh no, like can't possibly get sadder. It does. Literally just the thought kind of makes me tear up a little bit. Anyways, not gonna talk about it anymore. We're gonna move on because I got one more book and then we're done with this video. Like I said, I'm sorry that this video is taking so long. I had so many books to talk about. The last book I ended up reading is In Your Dreams, Holden Rhodes by Stephanie Archer. Love Stephanie Archer. She's so fun. Writes such fun, bantery little romances. This is a enemies to lovers romance and they end up both inheriting an inn from her aunt. Holden, this is like follows one of the brothers. He's the third brother. This is the third book in the series. First 2 books, also amazing. You need to go read them. So good. This one again is super fun, witty, bantery, enemies to lovers, and I really actually liked the progression of the relationship. It was just fun. Okay, I don't really have anything else to say on it because it is like, again, not something like super in depth. It was definitely a no brain power read. Stephanie Archer just writes such fun, witty characters and books and just like, they're just a good time, okay? I ended up giving this one, I think, a 3.5 stars, 3.75. Like I said, it wasn't like the best one. It's definitely not my favorite in the series so far. Ended up really loving it. Fun time. I read it entirely on a plane in 7 hours. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about it other than that. I'm going to end this video here because I've been yapping for so long. Those are all the books that I read January through March, okay? I'm gonna do another one, obviously April through June, right? April, May, yeah, June. So be on the lookout for that one at the end of June. But again, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me on all my social media as well as subscribing to my channel. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.